This winter storm is going to cause major disruptions as the jet stream dips, dragging down Arctic air and leading to freezing rain and heavy snow. Further south, in the warm sector, we are concerned about tornadoes later this afternoon. Here is the overall jet stream setup. To the right of the jet stream, we have upward rising motion, elevated temperatures, and high dew points. There is also significant shear at the lower levels, which could lead to tornadoes, possibly even strong ones, in the southeast later today. Meanwhile, further north, there will be a chilly rain. Moving even farther north into Oklahoma, freezing rain is expected before transitioning to all snow across the upper Midwest. This system will then swing through the Ohio Valley and into Michigan later in the afternoon. If you're new to the channel and enjoy detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button. You'll get daily content to help keep you ahead of the storm. Now let's take a look at temperatures this morning, February 12th. You can clearly see the warm sector along the coast where it feels almost like a spring day with widespread 70s. But these are just the morning temperatures. They will continue to rise with dew points approaching 70 degrees Fahrenheit later this afternoon. That's when we'll need to be most concerned about all three severe weather modes, especially in Louisiana and Mississippi. Further north, there's a sharp temperature gradient. Around the Red River, temperatures are at 32 degrees Fahrenheit this morning, leading to a transition to freezing rain near Tulsa. North of that, Kansas is already seeing all snow, and this system will continue moving northeast across Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. Meanwhile, frigid Arctic air has settled into Montana and Minnesota, with temperatures in the single digits and even below zero. Looking at the hazard map, we see a winter storm lit up with widespread winter weather alerts, including winter storm warnings across the central U.S. and upper Midwest. There's also another pocket of energy impacting the D.C. region, West Virginia, and the Northeast. Further south, the warm sector is under widespread flood watches stretching from East Texas into the Southeast. On top of that, there is a significant severe weather threat. Now, let's review snowfall totals from the past 3 days. The first storm impacted the Boston region, where some areas saw over a foot of snow. That system then moved south into the D.C. region, where widespread 8 to 12-inch totals were recorded. The current storm is bringing snow to Oklahoma and Kansas this morning and will continue into Nebraska, Iowa, and beyond, adding to those totals throughout the day. Looking at the water vapor imagery for this afternoon, we see an abundance of Gulf moisture fueling this storm. Strong upward rising motion and perfect storm dynamics unfortunately set the stage for widespread severe storms, intense rainfall, and flooding. Some areas could receive 6 to 8 inches of rain, which will worsen flooding concerns. Additionally, all of this moisture is feeding into the winter storm, creating further disruptions. In fact, Virginia is already experiencing significant power outages due to ice accumulation. There is growing concern for severe weather later this afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center has upgraded the risk to enhanced, with a 10% hatched tornado risk in the yellow shaded area. This means there is potential for strong EF2+ tornadoes in regions like southeastern Texas, Lake Charles, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, Montgomery, Mobile, and even into Birmingham and Atlanta later tonight. As of this morning, radar imagery shows widespread rain across Texas with heavier rainfall moving into the southeast. Freezing rain has caused numerous power outages in Virginia, while earlier today areas like Tulsa and Ardmore dipped to freezing. Meanwhile, northern Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and Iowa are seeing all snow, which will continue tracking northeast throughout the day. By this afternoon, the storm will impact northern Illinois, northern Indiana, Wisconsin, and much of Michigan, while northwestern Ohio remains under freezing rain conditions. Finally, later today, we'll need to watch for isolated supercells capable of producing dangerous tornadoes. Stay weather aware and make sure you're prepared. Thunderstorms will begin to rotate at the lower levels and become more surface-based, increasing the risk of all three modes of severe storms, especially tornado activity in Mississippi and Alabama this afternoon. This threat will intensify and move into central Alabama and Georgia later tonight into the overnight hours. Further south, widespread severe storms will continue, while in the transition zone, freezing rain will develop. On the back end, northwestern Ohio will see freezing rain before transitioning to all snow as the system lifts into Michigan and Quebec later this evening. But this storm isn't over yet. Over the next 48 hours, rainfall totals are expected to be significant. The biggest concern is training supercell thunderstorms, where storms repeatedly pass over the same areas. Yes, this is not a misprint. 4 to 6 inches or even locally 6 to 8 inches of rainfall is possible in some locations over the next 2 days. Further north in the colder sector, lighter amounts are expected. Meanwhile, out west, another intense atmospheric river event is set to make headlines. Nearly the entire state of California will be impacted by heavy rain, flooding concerns, and mudslide risks, with widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain expected. In the higher elevations, massive snowfall totals will pile up, affecting the mountain regions. This storm will then move inland across Nevada, bringing much needed rain to Arizona, transitioning into snow in Utah and across the Rockies. Additionally, freezing rain will develop in the central U.S., creating dangerous travel conditions. Oklahoma, Indiana, northwestern Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and southern Maine will all see impacts. This first winter storm will begin to subside by tomorrow, but heavier snowfall will continue into Quebec, and we're not done yet. Another major system will develop as the jet stream buckles again going into the weekend. Saturday's setup looks eerily similar, possibly even stronger than today's system. Another deep trough will drag down bitterly cold air, while the southeast remains in the warm sector, setting up yet another enhanced risk for all three modes of severe storms. This next outbreak could be even more widespread than today's event. Even 4 days out, the Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk for severe storms across East Texas, Shreveport, Jackson, Montgomery, and even further north into Nashville. Meanwhile, another winter storm will bring more heavy snow to Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, northern Illinois, Wisconsin, and nearly the entire state of Michigan. As this system moves northeast, it will transition to all snow in upstate New York, with wraparound snow in Iowa and Ohio extending into Quebec. Saturday will be a wild weather day as this next storm brings severe storms into Kentucky during its early stages before wrapping around and delivering snow on the backside. Another Arctic blast will follow, reinforcing bitterly cold air. This will be the second major plunge of Arctic air, bringing temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average and pushing deep into Oklahoma and Texas by Saturday. By Monday morning, the freeze line will reach the Gulf Coast, a major cold outbreak for mid-February. And it gets even colder. A polar vortex will surge southward early next week, bringing temperatures as low as 20 to 40 degrees below zero in parts of the Central Plains by Wednesday. This could be the coldest air mass of the season for many areas. As this polar vortex takes hold, it will push the snow line even farther south, affecting Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. The Climate Prediction Center is already forecasting significant snow between February 19th to 21st, with heavier snowfall expected across Tennessee, Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, and into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. In today's video, we're diving into the upcoming weather pattern. I've said this every day for the past week, but we're expecting extremely cold temperatures across the eastern and central United States. We've already been experiencing frigid conditions for several days, but this cold is expected to intensify even further. In addition to the cold, numerous snowfall chances are on the way. We just had one in the Mid-Atlantic yesterday, and we expect even more opportunities for snowfall in the northern southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and the Great Lakes. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, February 18 to 22. The latest update as of February 12th shows a significant cold pattern stretching from the central U.S. all the way to the south and east. This includes the southeast and northern southeast, the mid-Atlantic, the northeast. Meanwhile, the western U.S. will see near normal to warmer than average temperatures, forming a positive PNA pattern. This means warmer air in the west will help push colder air deeper into the east. Precipitation. So in the short term, we're entering a drier period for the northern regions. However, in the longer range, the pattern will shift back to stormier conditions, similar to what we saw in January. Expect frequent storm systems to move from the northwest through the Rockies into the southern plains, then up through the southeast and mid-Atlantic. The southwest will remain very dry, while the northeast and north central U.S. will also experience relatively dry conditions. 8 to 14 day outlook, February 20 to 26. Looking further ahead, the west will see even more warming, reinforcing a strong positive PNA pattern. Meanwhile, the coldest air will push even farther into the south and east. This setup is highly reminiscent of January's pattern and could unlock snow potential for areas that don't typically see much snowfall. This includes parts of the southern mid-Atlantic, southeast, even the deep south. Given cold temperatures and lingering moisture, snowfall is possible further south than usual. The last 10 days, a cooling trend. The northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast have all been experiencing a steady cooling trend. This trend will continue to push warmth out of the region as even colder air arrives. And by the end of February, these areas will likely end up colder than average. European model delays and current outlook. Now, let's talk about the European model. Today, there was an unexpected issue with the 12Z run. It hasn't been released yet, and it's unclear when the issue will be resolved. Right now, the most up-to-date full run we have is the 0Z model from last night. While we did get half of the 6Z run, we're still waiting for a full 12Z update. Hopefully, the 0Z run tonight or the 12Z run tomorrow will come through. Storm setup for Wednesday, 7 p.m. ET. By the time you're watching this, around 7 p.m. Wednesday Eastern Time, here's what to expect. A low-pressure system developing in Tennessee and the Deep South, and enhanced severe weather risk for Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama snowfall beginning in the Great Lakes and Midwest, a mix of precipitation overnight for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications on so you'll be alerted if we do go live. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already.